So, starting as I mean to go on, 2nd of January, second visit to the cinema. I've just been to see a film called One Life, which stars Anthony Hopkins and Helena Bonham Carter, among others. It is based on a true story, as was yesterday's film, but they were quite different in their content. I didn't know much about this, and then I had a quick read of the Guardian review and thought it sounded interesting, so I popped along. The fatal error I made coming to see this film this evening was not bringing tissues, because I have cried my eyes out and I've had to wipe my nose on my sleeve, which is really classy. Not as good as the time I went to see Moulin Rouge unprepared and had to blow my nose on receipts out of my purse, but yeah, this is it's a bit of a tearjerker. It is the true story of a gentleman called Nicholas Winton, who in 1939, 1938, 1938, yeah, it's 1938. He is due to go to Prague to meet a friend, I think for a skiing trip, and then with what's beginning to brew in Germany, he ends up going out to Prague as planned, but the time spent there is very different. So he's a young man, he's a stockbroker in London, by all accounts he's got a good education, a good job, he's just a good egg. And what ends up happening is he goes out there to help with trying to deal with the problem of displaced, mainly Jewish people in Czechoslovakia. So these people have moved they've sort of been pushed out when Hitler was given the Sudetenland as a hope of like sort of placating him and stopping him going to war. All these people were suddenly displaced. So Nicky goes out there to see what's going on, and what he finds are just horrific conditions, people, families with nowhere to go, no sanitation, just living in sort of makeshift camps, and he's absolutely devastated by what he sees, and he's working with an organisation out there that are trying to do what they can to help these refugees, but it's the children that Nicky focuses on. Like, he can't stand to see these children in these conditions, and it just lights a fire in him. So with the help of the organisation out there, and with basically what looked like a very small team of very normal people with determination and big hearts, decided that they were going to try and tackle this problem, but really with Nicholas being the driving force behind it. So he comes home to England, to his mum, who is played by Helena Bonham Carter, on fine fiery form. It transpires that Nicholas's grandparents on both sides were German. I think his dad's parents had come over in like 18 something. His mum had come from Germany to England to marry his dad. She says at some point, I came here to marry. So she plays, Helena Bonham Carter plays Babette Winton, Nicholas's mum. And she is a proper feisty bird. She's got this very mild German accent, and she's just really well put together and posh, but there's a whole heap of like what I would call divant mess about her. Like, don't go toe to toe with me, young man. At one point she's at like, I think she's trying to sort out visas, or while Nicky's still in Prague, she's trying to sort of find out what they're gonna need, what we're going to need in England to get these children in sort of legitimately and with the right paperwork. And someone tries, this young lad in the I guess it would be like the I can't think of the word, immigration office, tries to brush her off at his own peril, and he's like, well, yes, okay, and he stands up thinking she's going to do the same thing, and she just sort of looks at him and then basically says, sit back down. And like, you wouldn't defy her, because she's just not to be messed with. She might be small and she might be getting on a bit, but like, you wouldn't mess with her. And I just absolutely, I wasn't always the biggest fan of Helena Bonham Carter. The very sort of earlier part of her career, when she played a lot of period dramas and a lot of, I wasn't really on board. I find her quite annoying in Fight Club, even though everybody like raves about her performance. But as she's got older, she's really grown. I mean, I'd never disputed that she's a great actress. I just didn't particularly get on with the roles that she played. I just didn't really warm to her. But I don't know if it's her playing Bellatrix Lestrange in the Harry Potter films. But as she's got older, I'm just, like, I'm here for it. She is so good. I wish she was in it more. She's in it a fair bit, but I could have done with more of her. There's a little cameo from Jonathan Pryce is in a couple of scenes. So Anthony Hopkins is playing Nicholas in the present day. Well, I say the present day. It's 1987 when the film is set, and we're flicking backwards and forwards between Kent, Maidstone in 1987, and then Prague in 1938, 1939 as war's breaking out. And it's interesting to look at like the outbreak of war from a different perspective, from just this point of view of this team of very small, dedicated people. And I think the thing that makes what Nicholas Winton did so heroic was the fact that he did it without ever wanting acknowledgement for it. He wasn't doing it for praise or for accolades. He just wanted to save as many of these children as he could. His story is quite well known now, so I'm surprised it's taken this long to make a film version of it. In total, he managed, with this, like I say, this dedicated team, to get 669 children out of Czechoslovakia and safely into England and to foster families. And yeah, those children would not have survived without him. It's very well made. I mean, it could have been a two-part BBC drama. I think it's made by BBC Films, and Seesaw is the production company behind it, who've made Slow Horses is theirs on Apple TV. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. I doubt myself there, but it is. And also Heartstopper is another Seesaw production, so they're clearly very good at what they do. So I could have watched it in two parts on a Sunday night on the BBC. It wasn't necessarily, didn't need to be a cinematic outing, but I'm really glad I've seen it, because it's excellent. It's really well made. Anthony Hopkins is very good. Like, fair play to him. He's knocking on a bit now, but he put in a good performance as sort of, I say present day, as 1987 version of Nicholas. And yeah, it was all building to what's quite a famous clip from That's Life, where they reunite Nicky with the children that he helped to save. It's a story where you know what's coming, but that doesn't make it any less powerful. And what I found absolutely heartbreaking and really hard to watch is this footage of them like putting children on the trains. Like the idea as a parent of having to take your children to the train station and hang a number on them and send them off to a different country. Now, obviously British children were evacuated to the countryside, and that must have been terrifying. Like, my nana was evacuated. One of my nanas was, the other one worked because she was older. But yeah, these Jewish people were just trusting this man, these people, to take their children to safety, never putting them on trains, never knowing if they're going to see them again. And it is just heartbreaking to watch. And yeah, you just think about now people trying to get into England by small boats, and the Ukrainian refugees who came here, the British families who have accepted and have friends who've accepted Ukrainian refugees into their homes. And it's just, this whole movement that's featured in this film was made possible because ordinary people cared, and ordinary people wouldn't stand by and let it happen. And I'm just in awe of that level of sort of selflessness and determination when the odds are stacked against them, to just go, no, we're not going to take this, we're not going to let these children suffer. So very emotional, very well put together, not melodramatic particularly. I thought it had really good emotional beats, the performances were good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Didn't enjoy blowing my nose on my sleeve, but there we go. Note to self, if you think it might make you cry, take tissues next time. Or just carry tissues all the time. I'm a mother, I should carry tissues at all times. I don't, I'm terrible. But yeah, great film. 2 days in, 2 films watched. So 2024 at the cinema is off to a flying start. 2 based on true story films, 2 very, very different films. And now I'm going home, so we will see what else 2024 has in store for me at the flicks. Okay, Katie out.